Guys, we're back. So what we're here doing today is we're going to put our front door latch on our set of mahogany doors today. Now this is of course something you got to be paying attention when you do it. You want to drill a hole once and that's it, because if you drill in the wrong spot you just pretty much ruin your doors. So I take a lot of time. I look and read the instructions that came with it. I'll even go out and measure an existing door for the height of the location of the door latch. I'm always trying to make sure, double make sure, triple make sure that we're putting the lock in the right spot. So typically on a door like these mahogany set of doors, they don't go up here. You want to go down roughly at the bottom third of the door. And you could see right here, I've already marked this for one, as I marked this up for the other door in the house, the other location. It's about 33 inches off the bottom of the door to the center of this latch. And I figured, well, if it's good enough for that door, it's good enough for this one as well. Of course, before I drill anything, I'm going to mark it out and I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to close the door, I'm going to look at it and make sure. Then above it, we're going to have the lock. Now, by our instructions, we're looking at it between 4 to 5.5 inches from this line to our deadbolt. Now, with this, we're going to use the deadbolt that came with the lock, but eventually we're going to use a automatic Wi-Fi enabled lock or fingerprint sensor lock, which is electronic. We got it on our current home, and I got so used to it that I don't want anything else. I don't want to deal with keys. I haven't had to use a key in a long time. So anyway, we got this lock. It's a pretty good, decent Schlage lock set. These Schlage lock sets, just to show you, Schlage is probably the best name when it comes to locks, but I want to show you one thing about this lock set really quickly. If you notice, there's no lock on this. This does not lock. Why is that important? Well, because if this locks and you put one of those electronic locks on it, then now you still have a key. So you have a key on one and then you have an electronic lock on the other. You can't do that. So basically you're buying essentially a lock set that has no lock on the bottom, just kind of a latch, and with no key, no lock cylinder in this at all. And then you're replacing, in the future, you're replacing the upper lock with the electronic portion, the one that you may get that's got a code or fingerprint sensor or something like that. Be pretty mindful of that. Also, the other concern is the color. So this is what we would call an aged bronze. Now, believe it or not, a lot of these electronic locks are black. So you got to be cautious, because you can have this bronze and then go get a black lock set like electronic and it doesn't match. So there are some aged bronze ones out there. They're a little harder to find. So we'll eventually find that and get that put on here. But I just want to call your attention to that. If you go to black, you'll be great. If you go to bronze, aged bronze like this, you may have a harder time. Of course, anything with stainless steel colored is fine typically as well. They're going to have one that matches that. But you want to keep that in mind before you install one of these and you get the right one. So anyway, today I'm going to cut the hole for this. I bought a jig for that. It's a Ryobi jig, because if you get that off center, and more importantly, let me even tell you about not even off center, but if you go to drill a hole, let me show you real quickly. If you go to drill a hole using these hole saw, this is an oversized one. This isn't for this lock, but this is the hole saw. And if you don't have a jig for this and you try to do it by hand and you move that a little bit out of plumb, out of level, you get that lock set off a little bit, and what happens is your lock will freeze up. This is what it'll do. You'll bolt it in, it'll go in slightly crooked, and this will stick. You go to hit it and it'll stay down, it'll stay open. And you're like, what's going on? And you try to tighten it up. As soon as you go to tighten this down, it jogs it to the left or right, it starts sticking, and now you got a sticking lock. And that drives you crazy. You just spent $130 for this lock set and it's screwed up. Not to mention it looks stupid on the inside because it's off center. So be very cautious when you get this. Don't cheap out. Get a jig for it and don't mess around, particularly on a set of doors that are expensive as these are. So anyway, this is what we're going to do right now. So you can kind of watch me do that. I'll take an exorbitant amount of time doing this lock because I just want to be 100% sure. We actually have our front door lock set completed, believe it or not. It actually went in really well, and I'm pretty excited to show you about it. So what we got here is we used our jig. We got everything in here. We have our basic lever right here, our lock. And then of course we have a really cool old-fashioned bell that I bought years ago, and it followed me around from home to home until finally I had a place to put it. So we got this lock set in there, pretty good, pretty clean. And this set of mahogany doors is great. And as you can see, we even started to get our stain. We actually had enough to do this door here. And you can see it's a beautiful stain. We have not done any sort of polyurethane on it. We're probably going to do a satin finish. This is English chestnut on the door. I think it's by Minwax. And it took a lot of effort to get to this color because my wife, it takes a long time with color. I didn't know how important color is, but I guess it's very important. So anyway, we got this done here, and we'll be taking care of this today, finishing it off. But we got this done, so that's kind of a lock set. So these worked out really well. They line up perfectly. The door shuts and locks, which is really great. And it locks. And anyway, this is the lock set. Thanks for watching. On to the next project.